To this now, the Portfolio Committee on Higher Education and Training is warning universities and technical and vocational education and training TVET colleges not to misuse internationalisation as a reason for ignoring South Africa's immigration and labour laws. The committee members have raised serious concerns about the lack of accurate and reliable data on foreign academic staff across the post-school education sector. Now, for more on this, we are joined in studio by the Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Higher Education, Tebogo Letsie. Mr. Letsie, thank you so much for coming into studio to talk about this. As Parliament, tell us from your oversight visits and research, what have some of your findings been and why are you tackling this issue?
No, thanks for having us. Good evening to the viewers at home. Firstly, we, as you may remember, last year, our bosses, the people of South Africa who put us into jobs because they vote for us and then were then deployed to these positions. There was a noise about the number of foreign nationals in our institutions. Some of them came out to be fake because they would have said, for an example, at the University of Fort Hare, 76% of all employees are foreign nationals. So we then said, no, look, let's have a joint meeting with the Department of Home Affairs that is responsible for putting together what we call the critical skills list, and have a meeting again with employment and labor because they are responsible for the loss of the country, the immigration loss of this country. Unfortunately, on the 18th of February, when we had that meeting, the Portfolio Committee on Employment and Labour could not join us, but we decided to continue with both the Department of Higher Education and the Department of Home Affairs, which they gave us the presentations. We interrogated the presentations.
What did you see in those presentations? What was of greatest concern?
No, the greatest of concerns was that there was a high number of foreign nationals who were not employed on permanent basis. So there was about 9,300 out of 12,400 of foreign nationals who were on not on permanent basis, so were part-time lecturers. One, that is concerning because one, that might be exploitation of those workers themselves, but it's a high number. Wanted to understand why are they part-time? Are they on critical skills list? And why are they part-time? Because if they are on critical skills, it means they should be, on the organogram of the institution, and the institution should employ them. So we then said, the department then said, in fact, the 9,000 plus numbers are not yet verified. They will go and verify them. We gave them a month until the 18th of March to come back to us with verified numbers. And then from there, we've just gotten a number of people who have written a number of pieces, which I think they don't understand the questions that we're asking. They are responding to things that we're not talking about. I mean, we've received senior journalists who would have written for, what is that newspaper, for City Press that wrote very long document responding to a wrong question, indicating that we are saying universities must only hire South Africans. That's not what we've said. So everything else that they wrote, they were responding to the wrong question.
So clarify, what are you saying? Are you saying that there's an issue with universities hiring foreign nationals, period, or undocumented foreign nationals, or hiring foreign nationals over South Africans in a sphere that that's not a critical skill?
Yeah, so we're asking few questions. The first question is, based on our oversight to these institutions. For an example, at the beginning of February, we went to the Eastern Cape, and we found when we were there that there's a professor who's hired to deal with, in a position of a critical skills list, which is chemistry, which is good. But then internally, then they rehire him on an administrative post as an HOD, a post that we believe that is not critical skills. It's not on the critical skills, and we don't think it's critical. Then we asked them questions, how does this happen? They tried to explain, and we said to them they must we'll also give them a month to respond. So that's the first question. Do we have in our institutions foreign nationals who may be falling into this category, the second employment kind of category, which is not on critical skills? That is number one. Number two, we're asking, do we have those who are hired directly on non-critical skills? And if that is the case, what led to that? Because if you remember, we have the Immigration Act, we've got the Employment Service Act. Both of them, by the way, we also have the policy framework on internationalization that says, all of them, that there should be no justification for any of our institutions in South Africa to hire a foreign national over a South African if there's a South African that can do that particular job. So that is what the law says. And us as members of parliament, were hired to make sure that those laws are followed. So those are the questions that we're asking. I've seen an opinion piece by one of the employees in the sector, Prof. McKenna from Rhodes University, who have written a very long opinion piece, right, responding to a wrong question herself. And if I were to be an academic and mark her, I would give her 0 because she's responding to a very wrong question.
Let's focus on this because I want you to clarify as opposed to, going through what are some of the concerns that you haven't said. Let's clarify here. You're saying, of course, you have a duty to enforce the law as well in terms of the Immigration Act, but also in terms of scarce skills. The Minister of the department, as well as your ad hoc committee, has raised concerns that there's poor vetting, that there isn't reliable data as well. So how are you going to enforce the laws when you don't even have the correct paperwork?
That is why we gave them a month. Excuse me. That is why we gave them a month. We said, department, the data that you are giving to us, according to yourselves, sorry, it's not verified. So write to all institutions. We'll give you a table. They must just plug in information. So we say, do we have foreign nationals? You then send yes. Then you go to which department? Yes. What is the position? Yes. Is that a critical skill?
Like an audit?
Yes. So we have given them a format for them to just fill in those things. And then we're asking them to give it to us. We will analyze it ourselves and then ask each individual institution, if we find that you have hired a foreign national on a critical skills list, how did that happen? And by the way, we're not xenophobic. I mean, there are people who we praise every day. Every chance that we get, we praise them. Like, for an example, Professor Achananga from the University of Free State, doing a marvelous job, producing a number of masters and PhD students in mathematics. He's not the only one. There are many. But we are saying, just like any country, we've got laws, and those laws must be followed when you hire these things. There are South African lecturers who are even opening associations. They're unemployed TVET lecturers, unemployed university lecturers. They're forming forums because they are saying they want to be heard. And now if we have people who are being hired on non-critical skills list and South Africans are overlooked, somebody must be held accountable.
Which institutions are the biggest culprits?
We are waiting for the information to come. Once that information comes before us, we will analyze it with our team in Parliament. Then we'll call them one by one. They'll come and clarify. It will be premature for us now when we don't have verified information to say it's institution A or B are the biggest culprit. But we have an idea because when you see people start writing about us, saying this and that, they interest us. Or what is it that they don't want us to go to? So already we have our eyes on Rhodes University because of this opinion piece by Prof. McKenna. I can tell you they will find something. Wits University, the previous HOD of sociology there, Prof. Roy, wrote to us, called us all kinds of names, disrespected South Africans, said, South Africans, you guys have got a low work ethic, in essence, you don't deserve to get these opportunities. We'll also look at that. Then there's a number of others which we're expecting them, by the way, from probably from tomorrow's newspapers. We'll find other opinion pieces responding to the wrong question that we have not been asking.
Okay, so what happens now that once it's been vetted and you have the numbers, what happened? Do you then, as the ad hoc committee, sit with those higher learning institutions and tell them to fire those people that were poorly vetted or aren't supposed to be part of the critical skills list? What is the way you're going to implement this?
Look, let me tell you what is it that we expect some of them to do. So we expect some of them not to cooperate with this sort of audit that we're asking for. Those ones that will not cooperate, they will make our jobs very easy. Because what we'll do, we will then write to the President of the Republic of South Africa to proclaim the SIU to investigate them on these things. And then all those vice chancellors who are accounting officers, who are literal CEOs of these institutions, must be held accountable, criminally so, because the Employment Service Act and the Immigration Act would have been trampled upon. That is the first group, and I can tell you there will be those who will refuse, because some of our universities believe that they should not be held accountable in South Africa. That is the first one. Those ones that we will get that they've not followed the law, again we'll write to them and ask Vice Chancellor, Chair of Council, here is a department of sociology, for an example, which has not been clarified or indicated on a critical skills list as a critical skill. You have hired the HOD, Prof. Roy, for an example, who in turn herself has hired 70% of everybody under that particular department on non-critical skills, and they are foreign nationals. What is the consequence management and the time frame that you require us to give you to come and give us a report on how are you remedying the situation? Because somebody must be held accountable. Firing those people, for me, is neither here nor there. But what is important is that there is somebody who did that particular thing. And that particular person must be held accountable.
So it's not just about the academic themselves or whatever position that they hold who is a foreign national. It's also about who hired them. But it's not, you're also saying that it's not about getting rid of foreign national educators or people, academics in our system, but also ensuring that it adheres to the Immigration Act.
Yeah, we support the policy framework on internationalization fully, because we understand and comprehend the point that our institutions are global institutions. They must attract people out there. But just like everywhere in the world, they do have such policies. But these policies, are underpinned by the laws. So you don't just rock up at SOUS, for an example, SOAS in London, and say, no, I'm going to work here. We do have a vice chancellor that will come from here, Prof. Habibi. And I can tell you he had to go through the Immigration Act, the immigration laws himself. So these other ones who are saying, no, our South Africans, I mean, universities in the UK, they've got a few laws that they've passed, the skills worker visa and sponsorship, national security, called spheres, ATAS. So you go through all of these things. So that is the first. We are not saying South African universities must not hire foreigners. That's not what we are saying. We fully support this thing, but we are saying let it be, this thing, let it be done under, the country's laws. Because if we don't do it, then our country is going to become a banana republic. We'll wake up one day and South Africans are up in arms fighting us that, we have literally sold this country. So consequence management for those who are responsible for our institutions. I mean, our vice chancellors earn a lot of money, and they must be held accountable if indeed their institutions have not followed the law.
Unfortunately, we have run out of time, but thank you so much for coming into the studio and also clarifying on some of the questions that are swirling around about this matter as well. Really appreciate your time. That is, of course, Tebogo Letsie, who is the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Higher Education.